This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you!
Boring. 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 Boring.
You gotta do it. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Welcome, welcome one and all. Lemberdopic here on Lemberdopic Live on Unprecedented TV, the home of free speech all around the world. And thank you if you have already subscribed. If you haven't, why not? Please go to our station, that is Unprecedented TV. If you can't find it, put my name in, L-E-M-B-I-T, Lembit. I don't want to be famous, but I want my station to be famous, and that's a quick way to get to it. It'll cost you nothing to subscribe, and thank you so much if you do. This is the home of free speech, and that means that we tackle difficult problems, and one of them is the question of abuse, domestic abuse against individuals. If you live in the United Kingdom, you might have noticed that the current government, the Labour Party, has said that it wants to stop abuse or violence against women and girls. A laudable intent, you might say. But hold on a second. What about violence against men and boys? Or doesn't that happen? Maybe the Labour Party has no idea that between a quarter and a third of all violence and all domestic abuse is female to male. That's my impression. This is my opinion. But I think that we have an utterly sexist and destructive policy towards abuse. In my opinion, abuse is not about gender. It's about mindset. And that mindset damages millions of people in Britain and all over the world every day. Why does Labour think that training teachers about misogyny, a hatred of women, is the solution? What about misandry? That's when women hate men. Well, okay, most people have never even heard that word. It seems the Labour Party hasn't. Am I wrong? Well, when I was a member of Parliament, I dealt with lots and lots and lots of abuse cases. Many of them were female victims, but a large proportion were also male victims, usually by women. So what's going on here? Why have we sexualized abuse? Why have we got a government which thinks that abuse has got a sexist agenda where we have to stop violence against women and girls, but it says nothing about violence regarding men and boys? Well, I've got a great guest today. This is Marilyn Hawes from Freedom from Abuse. Now, why don't you tell us what your charity does before we go any further?
Well, my aim is to prevent abuse by going around schools, parents, anyone that wants to listen to me, to talk about why people abuse, how you identify the behaviour, how you can stop it early. I've been into prisons, I've spoken to perpetrators, and you cannot do any form of safeguarding unless you actually look at the people who are the perpetrators and you go.
Well, let's start with that. Now, the Labour Party has said today, and I push this against the Labour Party because they're in government. I think other parties are guilty of this too. But they've said they want to stop violence against women and girls.
Well,
What do you think about that?
It's outrageous because from the research I've done, and I mean, I've done this sort of training for certainly about toxic relationships into teenagers with teenagers. I wrote this course during COVID actually, and also it was based on my own 19 years of domestic abuse and, you know, what I didn't know about but went through when I was engaged, and no one told me. I thought it was weird, but no one said. But during my research, you know, and I have to say, when I've gone into schools and I've spoken to children, there's no point in preaching to them this nonsense that Labour Party has come out with. They're going to go in. Last people that should be training children, speaking to children about toxic relationships are teachers. I mean, and they're woke. They haven't got necessarily, if they have the lived experience, they're not going to stand up in an assembly and talk about it. And my research, and whilst all the time I've been going around schools and I sit in a circle and I talk to the kids, let's find out, you know, what you're experiencing, blah, blah, blah. And then I've been talking to, 4 years ago, to a guy in America, and he confirmed with me that 1 in 11 girls come out and say they are being toxically abused by their boyfriends. And no, hang on, wrong, sorry. 1 in 11, 1 in 11 girls, and it's 1 in 10 boys. Now, boys and men generally don't want to speak about it because
Hold on, stop.
Sorry.
1 in 11 girls, so that's 9%. 1 in 10 boys, 10%. More boys than girls.
1 in 11 girls where boys they're in a toxic relationship with a boy, and 1 in 10 boys who are in a toxic relationship with a girl.
So more boys than girls.
Well, it will be, really, because, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, what annoys me is that, I mean, when I've done these courses with the kids, and I don't want to call it training because I don't want to stand there and preach, you have to talk to the children and find out what it is they're actually going through, why they think it's happening, could they have stopped it, what are you going to. Teachers don't have these conversations, and they are absolute numpties, the government. And the media shouldn't be focusing on this unless they know their facts.
Let's go into this. What is this on the screen here? The training you need, however you need it. What's that mean?
I can't even see it because my glasses. I mean,
the training you need, however you need it. And it's got you on the picture.
Yeah, I know. Whatever you think you need about abuse training, preventing, or whatever, we have the course to do it. We have it. That's what that means. I mean, that's basically what it means. We have the training to help you, or the conversation to help you. We have the research about why, and that's what this government are not doing. It's what Jess Phillips hasn't done. You know, we're going to. Why is it about the boys? You see, I think it's a smokescreen. I think they're thinking, oh, let's dive away from all the rapes and everything that these illegal migrants are doing, and let's now. Oh, I know what. We'll have these things in schools. 20 million quid on something that they're never going to achieve because they don't understand the actual behavior. Why? This is what I go on about. Why do children behave like this? Why are girls so bitchy and horrible to boys? And they are. And why are boys? Why? Where's it come from? It's come from, go back earlier than being a teenager. It's come through maybe experiencing it in the home, some sort of adverse childhood experience that has caused them trauma, that has made them unbalanced and not right. I mean, I have 4 children who all went through the years of abuse that I was living through and they were living through. And this is also to do with parenting, absolutely with parenting. I made it absolutely clear to my children, my boys, 3 against 1 girl. I said, you do not shout and swear at your sister. You do not hit her. You do not do this. You don't do this to anyone. Now, they are wonderful kids. They wouldn't, even though they lived through all of that, they were told at a young age, this is not how you behave. And it's not what you do. You have to have high emotional intelligence and respect. And that is what's not being taught in schools.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what the BBC said, the British Broadcasting Corporation.
God.
Meant to be, I know that provokes you, but let's have a look at this. This was the story that provoked me. If you're watching this in the morning yesterday, teachers to be trained to spot early signs of misogyny in boys. Teachers to be trained to spot early signs of misogyny in boys. Nothing about misandry.
Exactly.
Misogyny is a hatred of women by men. Nothing about misandry.
But this is what they don't. This hatred thing is lack of respect. I hate. I'm saying it myself. I so don't like that word hate. It's too strong. It is a lack of respect, and I don't think for a moment, because I put something out on Twitter today to Jess Phillips saying, "Have you heard of misandry?" Because no one has talked about misandrous. and they are there. And what really annoys me is that I go in schools across the whole of the UK. I see booth behaviours in equal measure in schools, in the corridors. I have reported it to the DSLs, which is the designated safeguarding leads. I have gone to the senior management and complained and said this is unacceptable. And I just get like that. That's
right,
it.
let's have a look at this. Okay, so that was a story that I saw. Look at the picture, right? Teachers to be trained to spot early signs of misogyny in boys. Later on, this is the story. Boys to be sent on courses to tackle misogyny in schools. So now the children are going to be told in some emasculating way
exactly
that you are bad. You must not abuse girls. Nothing, not one word about women or girls abusing boys.
I know, it's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. I mean, it really is. I cannot. I was so angry this morning. I wanted to punch Jess Phillips in the face through the screen of my TV.
That's abuse, probably.
And then it started again tonight. And I was away all day today, and I thought, I'm not going to look at my phone because I was at a funeral. I'm not going to. And I thought, no, let me have a look. And then I was enraged in the car. My son was driving. He went, "What's wrong?" I went, "Ugh. What's wrong is this whole government is just absolutely outrageous that they can gender base something like this. It's not right." I have sat in schools, and what gets me is teachers are the last people that should be teaching this. You know, why don't you try teaching respect? Try teaching respect. We don't talk to people like this. You don't talk to people like, but they're so woke. They're so woke. They're so politically correct. That's why I don't really like going into schools anymore, because they would like object to the way I do this thing with children. Right. I don't want to go in and like, right, boys, come along. We don't talk like, oh, come along, girls. It's like, let's talk about respect, about being kinder to each other, about being, you know, what is it that makes someone want to be this way? Where you can blame Andrew Tate. That's a part of the equation, to be honest. You can blame watching pornography. That's a huge issue. But then you ask the boys, and that's what nobody else is doing. I will say to the boys in the school, 13, 14-year-olds, you know, do you actually think pornography that you are watching, and my golly, once you've seen it, you can't forget it, and it's not like it used to be years ago. It is so unbelievably grueling, vile, and it's awful. It's about
well, don't go into it too far, because we got.
I won't take it too far. I won't know. But it is just so awful that once children have seen that, and then they say to me, the boys will say, because sex education in school is rubbish. I said, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Right, let's go back to this. Okay, let's look at these two things. Right, thank you. Teachers to be trained to spot early signs of misogyny in boys. Teachers to be trained to spot early signs of women hating in boys. Later on in the day, look at the picture, exactly the same picture. Boys to be sent on courses to tackle misogyny in schools. Now we've got boys, unspecified age, who are going to be sent on classes, on courses about hating women. Why is there absolutely nothing in this? Nothing in this about girls abusing boys. You know what? That's the kind of thing that social networks shut down. And
it should be shut
social
down.
Networks on notice. You are absolutely sexist. You're absolutely disregarding millions of men and boys who are being abused by women.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I feel sorry for, do you know, an 11-year-old boy has already been put on a course today. 11 years old. He's already been trotted off to some course on how to be nice to women. I mean, honestly, maybe he's like that because girls have been horrible to him. What is wrong with these people? They've got not a brain cell in their head, and you cannot come out. I mean, they should be shut down. They should be banned from having to report this because they're not reporting it accurately, appropriately. They're not looking at why a child may be like this. They're not understanding the nature of the child. There's more to this than just someone reacting and being like they are against a girl or against a boy. Why? Why? No one is taking the time to find out the why. We'll just send them on a course. It's outrageous. It's utterly outrageous. I mean, I really... I really feel for it. I mean, I've got 3 sons, and I sort of looked at them today, thinking, how do you feel about this? It's just dreadful. This should not
the way
be allowed
I feel
to
about
go
this,
on unless
right,
they've covered
the way
all
I feel,
bases, and they haven't.
I'm incensed by this.
So am I.
When I was a member of Parliament, and I said in my program recently, when I was a member of Parliament, I got more men. Well, I didn't expressly state this, but I will say this now. I had more men who'd been victim of abuse than women. Now, I think probably more women suffer it, but it's probably 2/3 to 1/3, or 3/4 to 1/4. The fact is, abuse is not about gender, Starmer. It's not about gender, Phillipson. It's about mindset. And when you decide to say you're going to stop violence against women and girls, you damn the whole of the abused who are male to some kind of damnation where it's embarrassing. Wait a minute, Marilyn. I will say this because I am so angry about this. You damn every single person, every single man who has suffered abuse to some kind of an excusive, shameful shutdown because you, Phillipson, you, Starmer, think what if a man is strong, he has to subdue the woman who's abusing him? The only way, and I'll say this to you, Marilyn, the only way this works is if they assume that a man can physically subdue a woman or because he's stronger, who's abusing him.
Well, I mean, I spoke to a barrister 2 or 3 years ago, and he showed me this photo of this beautiful girl, and she was like attractive, about 5'2", long blonde hair, looked really lovely. And I went, oh, why are you prosecuting her? Oh, because she's just stuffed her boyfriend through a plate glass window and put him in intensive care, and his head's lacerated with shards of glass. You wouldn't have thought she could have punched a pat of butter. But, this is the trouble. Women can be... My godson was... and he's a lawyer, and he had the same thing. And he, dreadful, what this woman put him through. And he's a lawyer. And I think the trouble is, men and boys, you talk to Mankind UK, and see what they have to say. I mean, men in this country only have about 2 refuge centres that are safe spaces for them to go to. That is outrageous. And it's appalling. It's appalling that you can make this a gender thing. It isn't a gender thing. A lot of the blooming nonsense going on with the girls right now are from the migrants. And I think this is a smokescreen to say, I know, let's shift it on to misogynistic boys. It's utter rubbish. It's smoke and mirrors. They should absolutely hang their heads with shame.
This is Mankind's site, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
I've talked to Mankind. They are brilliant. What's the name of the guy that you know there?
I know I'm speaking to the chairman there, a lovely guy, Mark Brooks, and we had a lovely conversation, really nice man. And I had the same conversation with him before this hit the news. I spoke to him last week, and we had a long conversation. I said about, I was in a domestic abuse. I know what it's like. I had it for 19 years, but I'm not a man hater. I like men. I just happen to marry a woman. It happens. And I said, but, I really feel, because in the job I do with Freedom from Abuse, I have so many men that my heart goes out to them because they're frightened of speaking out because, I might lose my house. And I have known so many women that play that nasty little game in the family courts of saying, oh, well, of course, my husband's abusing my child. Oh, the number that play that game. And they're very worried about it. And then they go to the police as well. This is another thing that happens to them. And the guy, Mark Brooks and Mankind, he absolutely agreed with me. I said they go to the police. I've known police officers laugh at them and go, oh, you mean a woman hit you or threw a mirror at you? Yes, that happens. Wakey. And it is dreadful that even other men don't, and that's why the men won't come out. And I understand that fear. Will I see my children again? Will this toxic bitch actually try and screw me over in a court? Yes, they will, because they are vile. Some women are vile, and really deeply unpleasant and play a very nasty game. I once went out with a guy who started up It was something about fathers for justice, right? And that got and is toxic. It's about fathers bringing down women in court, but it's not a nice thing that they do. It's not like Mankind that are there as an organisation and the only organisation to support men. That's the point, and it's just dreadful. It's dreadful. I suppose, I don't know. I mean, I suppose what may be thinking, women are penetrated, a woman can't penetrate a man, but that's also not true, because where I live, there's a lovely Indian restaurant down the road, and the guy there that owns it, he was telling me about a year ago about the dreadful abuse that his wife put him through. Awful. And you wouldn't think that, and he's only ever told me. Why haven't you told people? Looking at, oh God, it's so embarrassing.
Okay, hold that thought. We've got to go to a quick break. This is awkward and difficult, but that's what we do here on Unprecedented. And the important thing is, it's got to be told. Why? Because abuse, in my view, is not gender specific. It's mindset specific. Somebody else who does some very, very good work, Claire Dyer, with Dire Consequences. She takes local issues of national significance. Watch this. And that's Claire Dyer, Dire Consequences. She is an absolute star, one of our great anchors here. And also one of our great commentators is Marilyn Hawes with your own show. Tell us about your show briefly.
It's called Heart and Soul. And I want to get to the heart and soul of issues just like this. I want to have those difficult conversations about life issues that nobody wants to talk about. So on my show, I have coming up the chairman of Mankind UK. I have got the three dads from Three Dads Walking, who's all three of them, their daughters took their own lives, sadly. I have got a lovely lady who I've known for some time, Professor Jane Monckton-Smith, who's globally known, and she is a researcher, hugely well known in domestic homicide. And that is also looking at the men that are killed as well. So, not just the women, the men as well. And then I've got Professor Melanie Lang coming on. She's a researcher in abuse in sport globally. She's going to be a guest on my show. But I also have got a young teenager, hopefully, if she's got the guts to do it, that's going to come on. And she was sectioned because she was self-harming and et cetera, and she's well and fit now, and she's gone down the music route like a lot of musicians do to express their emotions. And I really want her to come on as a brave young lady who can say, what it felt like, what it was that made her want to self-harm and eating disorders and all the rest of it. And here's
the point, Marilyn. Abuse happens to men and women. It is not gender specific. This stupid Labour government has decided to say they want to stop abuse against women and girls. Therefore, they demonize men. The emasculation of men. Once again, the idea that men are the source of all abuse. I can tell you from personal experience, from what I've seen as an MP and elsewhere, that this is about mindset. I don't know about you, Marilyn. I'm going to ask you this in a minute, but I think it's disgusting. It's sexist. It's virtually criminal what Phillipson and Starmer are doing, because they are demonizing men instead of demonizing abuse.
It absolutely is not just about gender. It's about a human mindset. It is about a human brokenness. And when I've done these talks with the teenagers in school, and I just think, I know what this is going to be like. Or the teachers can already see behaviors in their face already, and they don't deal with it. They see it in the girls, they see it in the boys. I have pulled up girls in corridors and said, that's not right, what you've just said to that boy. And I'm a guest in the school. And I'm the one that's going around saying, you have to behave yourself and think about what you're saying. Think about how that may feel. Going around to call a boy this, or you this, that, and the other. It's not right. You have to think about what you're saying and the impact it's having. And you get nowhere. The behavior is there to see from the boys and the girls. And after I've done these talks, every time I get more boys coming to talk to me after than I am the girls. More boys every time to talk about their toxic relationships.
And yet we got this. I think this may have been the Guardian. Apologies to the Guardian if it wasn't you. Teachers will be given extra training to tackle misogyny in schools. Keir Starmer announcing new strategy says toxic ideas are taking hold early and going unchallenged. He thinks in his stupid, idiotic way, offensive way, that this is all about boys abusing girls. The Prime Minister, our atheist Prime Minister, has no understanding about the spirit of the human race. He doesn't understand that abuse is not about whether you have male or female sexual organs. It's about whether you've been traumatized, probably. And when you act out that to your people around you, they don't care. The abuser doesn't care if you're male or female, because they probably abuse their children, they abuse their parents, they abuse their partner. And you know what, Marilyn? I think that we should start a campaign here on Unprecedented TV to absolutely shame the current government and any politician who thinks that it's acceptable to suggest that this is gender-based. It's the Dark Ages. This is the Dark Ages. I'm angry about it because I had man after man after man, many women too, coming to my surgery saying I'm being abused. We said, well done for your courage. I also noticed something else, Marilyn, that the abused were often far stronger than the abuser because they put up with it.
And the thing is with the abuser, you see, when you get into these situations, you can't go, oh, poor little 5'2" lady against a 6-foot man. Yeah. They have this rage in it, and the rage is like a volcanic eruption, and they turn into some really, they have enormous strength. So although that people will say, oh, men are more physical, don't go down that route, because
also the man doesn't hit back. Starmer's disgusting assumption is that a man can look after himself. What does that mean? Oh, you can fight back. Is Starmer saying that an abused man should hit the woman? Is that what he means? Starmer, you need to justify this. I'm coming for you with this question, because if you can't answer it, you need to get out of your office.
I'm going to come with you, because the fact remains, even the police force will laugh at some of these men. And that's why, like, oh, you mean, well, why didn't you hit her back? Well, I don't hit women. I don't want to hit a woman. And why would you? But I mean, I've seen a terrible injuries meted on men by women. And I've had stuff done to me. But I'm not going, oh, it's only me because I was. No, it's not. It is absolutely what the schools should be doing. They bang on about consent. Consent sits on respect. If you don't respect someone, and that's the thing, you've got to understand the nature of the perpetrator. Why is someone behaving like this? It is, as you rightly say, it's a mindset. It's a distortion in the mind caused from some sort of experience in the early years that made the cortisol spike that changes the landscape of the brain, and it comes out and it manifests in behaviors. And those behaviors are not looked at properly, even in infant school, because nobody wants to understand, because we've kind of a woke, stupid, woke, lefty, politically correct society, and no one is putting their head above the parapet, drawing a line in the sand and going, why? Why is that child, forget the gender, why is that child behaving like that?
We are. Right, Unprecedented TV will not.
It's not gender.
Sorry, I talked over you.
Sorry, I'm angry.
I'm the same as you. I am absolutely incensed by this. I've been angry about this for 15 or 20 years. I have absolutely no respect for the mainstream media,
No.
who suggests that abuse is man to woman. It's abuser to abused.
Absolutely
it's nothing to do with gender.
Exactly.
Nothing to do with gender. It's about people who've been traumatized, probably, maybe raped, maybe abused themselves, who acted out on their partner. And by the way, it's gay to gay, lesbian to lesbians. It's probably transsexual.
I've got photographs of what lesbian women have done to each other. I've got taking beer bottles and stuff and smashing someone's head. And it's rubbish. You cannot put gender into it, and you should not be putting this out on mainstream media unless the journalists get off their backsides and do some intuitive, investigative journalism to say, well, is it this? Why is this misogyny going on? Why don't they get the people like myself who can actually say, you're barking up the wrong tree here, mate? But they don't want that, do they? Because it's so much easier to go, oh, look what they've said. That is not proper journalism. It's absolutely, it should be stopped. Starmer needs, I'm just so angry. I don't know.
Let me show you this. VAWG takeover at Labour conference. Survivors deserve better. As the Labour Party conference gets underway this weekend, specialist violence against women and girls, VAWG organisations will take over the agenda, calling on the government to done its pledge to halve that within a decade into meaningful action. They actually celebrate the fact that they have sexualised abuse. They've sexualised the idea that it's male to female. This is at the heart of our current government.
It's awful. I mean, I look at I've got little grandchildren, and I look at my two little, mainly girls, but I've got two little boys. And I look at them and I think, if you read this, I mean, they can't read at the moment because they're too young. But if you read this, how's that going to make you feel? I mean, that is absolutely appalling. It's criminal. It is criminal, but they don't care, do they? They just don't care. Starmer doesn't care. Jess Phillips shouldn't be imposed. She was there this morning looking so pleased with herself that she has now found this sort of she's found the perfect pill to sort everything out. She was so smug, and we're going to do it. And also she said, oh yes, we're so into violence against women and girls that any migrant that does this is going to be deported. Excuse me? What? Have you seen anyone go back yet? No, they're having like weak sentences, no sentence. They haven't got on a boat. They haven't been flown back. So don't try and say that, shift the debate onto our young boys.
There's been a very small number of deportations, Marilyn. But the point I've got here is, it's almost a subtext here. Oh, we're talking about foreign men who rape girls. That's almost the inference. But let's not go into that now. I want to talk about the fact that there's one, respect. Men's advice line are absolutely brilliant. And they say this: domestic abuse affects men too. Talk it over. Now, this is a million miles away from what we're getting from Jess Phillips and Keir Starmer, who are too stupid or inexperienced or uninformed to understand that abuse is about abusers abusing the abused. There's no understanding of that at all here. And, I am so angry about it because I've seen people's lives destroyed by that.
Yes. Men
and women. And they don't go, oh, well, I'm a woman, therefore I'm abused. They say, I'm a victim of abuse, if they can admit it at all. And men say, well, I need to be stronger. What does that mean? Right. And these stupid politicians more or less imply the man should be able to defend himself. Starmer, you're more or less implying that the man should be using his physical force to stop it. This is the criminal, in my view, morally criminal attitude they've got.
It is morally corrupt. It really is morally corrupt. I mean, my godson, as I say, he's 6 foot, and his wife was about 5'5". And literally, I have photographs of him being pushed into mirrors and shattered and all of that. And he's a really nice chap. He would never hit back. And he's had a terrible struggle trying to get his children because she's played that game in the court. And nobody would believe if they saw, I'm not going to say his name, if they met him. He is just a lovely guy. And it's the same thing. All abusers choose someone that they think they can manipulate, that think they can gaslight. They choose people that are by nature empathic, and they go the distance, and they're loyal, and therefore you don't change, but you're right up there as a target. Man, boy, girl, or woman, you're going to have a target on your back if you don't understand about gaslighting and how you can be sucked in and all the rest of it. And that's what the kids aren't being told. They're just not being taught about how to have a relationship. And I get so sick of people going on about consent. If you don't respect another human being, including yourself, then you're not going to give a monkey's about whether you've said yes or no, because I'm feeling entitled and I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, well, we have a prime minister. There he is. There he is. Keir Starmer,
honestly,
who gormlessly waves like this, is willing to kill thousands more Ukrainians by proxy. Doesn't seem to have a clue about the nature of abuse. There are all kinds of questions about him that need to be answered. We're not going into that now. But as far as I'm concerned, that man is guilty. He's guilty of consigning male victims of abuse to darkness and potentially suicide. Because when they talk about violence against women and girls, hold that picture, please, team. When they talk about violence against women and girls, they imply there is no violence against men and boys. Now, Marilyn, just get rid of that man now. I want to suggest this. We need to get together in the next few days, and we need to launch a campaign.
Absolutely.
Which would be called something like violence. Sorry, an end to abuse, not an end to violence against women and girls. And then
did you see
to abuse.
Did you see the I think I sent it to you, a tweet that went out. What was very concerning me is that Keir Starmer is following me on Twitter, which actually kind of like worries me. But he put this out on Twitter that my daughter, I want my daughter to do this, that, and the other. I want my daughter to be free from. It's there. He put it out on Twitter about free from, it's violence against women and girls. There was absolutely nothing. It won't have been him, of course. It would have been his team. There was
no, he has to own it. No, he has to own it.
I suppose,
it's in his name. He has to own it.
Yeah, he has to own it. You're dead right there. And it's there. I sent it to you. I was incensed. I mean,
I saw it.
When I saw it, I thought, this man is such a wooden numpty. Does he have a brain cell in his head? He's got no empathy. He's got no interest whatsoever. And the rubbish that came out on this tweet. And Alison Pearson, who writes for the Daily Telegraph, oh my goodness, she was brilliant with what she put up in argument against him. How disgraceful it is. And it is. But what annoys me is the mainstream media are covering what Jess Phillips and this hideous man has said. They're not using their own intellect to ask, well, hang on a minute, is it like that? Is it really against girls? They're just spouting what they've been told. That is not journalism.
All right, so what do we do? We've only got a few minutes left. What do we do? You are the head of Freedom from Abuse. I'm suggesting that we start a campaign, which we can form. I'm slightly vague about how we do it, but we'll be very clear on this in the next 72 hours.
I think what we have to do is also sort of like flood social media with, has anybody ever thought? I mean, I tell you, I promise you, Lambert, excuse me, Starmer would never heard of misandry. No one has. When I speak about it, when I talk to the children, I talk to teachers, I go, oh, what? Misandry? That's because you're so convinced it's misogyny. And you're so down that track, you don't even know there's another name for girls that do the same thing, for women that do the same thing. You don't even, whoever is being abused, it's a crime against them and their human rights and everything. And I'm being so angry today. And I thought, I'll just calm down. I'll come home, had a horrible drive in the weather, come back. And then up he pops again with Jess Phillips. And I thought, I'm right on the ceiling once again. I thought, will you shut up? You don't know what you're talking about. You're dealing it. You're just skimming on the surface without looking at how deep an iceberg can be. You know what I mean? You can't just yes, that's the way to sort it. Yes, that's the way to sort it. No, it's not the way to sort it. What you're doing is actually, as you say, demasculating young boys who must be terrified of going out. I mean, I know boys and men that are frightened of going out with women because they're so worried what might happen or what they may have happened to them, or if something happens, they might call rape, and and then their careers and everything are ruined. It's dreadful. It is dreadful. I really it's a lot. I don't get angry easily, but this today, oh my life, I was really on the ceiling, and I'm like 0 to 100, and if he was in front of me now, I mean that's what we have to do. I think we have to flood social media. We have to shame the main media, embarrass them, embarrass Starmer, keep on and on and on over Twitter and on Facebook, wherever it is your social media is. What about the men?
And isn't it ironic that the highest paid news broadcaster in the BBC, Hugh Edwards, was actually prosecuted for having extremely explicit pornography about the rape of small boys.
I know.
And yet they talk about the abuse of women and girls.
Well, they shouldn't be. I mean, they should be closed down. I mean, good for Trump. I don't blame Trump. Go for the 10 billion. Let them close down. They're just unbelievably. That's why I love unprecedented, because we call it for what it is. There's no question of dumbing it down, being politically correct. We don't swear. I think this is the first time either of us have been so opinionated, and it's not opinion. This is about something that is fundamentally wrong with what has been spoken about today, supported by main media. So all the people in society will go, oh yes, that's right. It is terrible what's happening to girls. It's outrageous, and it's sending people down a trajectory that is the wrong route.
If the social media where we broadcast has any integrity at all, Marilyn, they will ensure their algorithms share this program around the world, because this gives hope to the millions upon millions of men who suffer the same abuse that millions upon millions of women experience.
Women are more devious, Lambert.
I don't know. That's a whole different subject. I'm not sure if they are.
No, but that's part of the abuse. That is part of the abuse.
Yeah, but I don't know. The way I look at it is more devious, less devious. The fact is, there are abusive women, there are abusive men.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, Marilyn, Freedom from Abuse, your charity, Mankind, and also Men's Advice Line, they do great work, as do charities who support women who are abused.
Truly, I think we could include them, Mankind, and get them and give them a platform, as I'm going to give him a platform when he comes on my show. And I couldn't believe how easy it was. I mean, we were chatting, and I just said, will you come? Yes, I want to be a guest on your show. I've got the date booked, and such a lovely man. And I think those are the people we need to actually draw in as well to come build a campaign, because Mankind UK are the only one, like the Men's Advice Line, of course. That men have got nowhere to go. There are 2 refuges in the whole of the country. That's outrageous.
There may be more, but there are very few, and the attitude is bad. Marilyn, thank you so much. That is Marilyn.
Thank you for your time.
That is Marilyn Hawes. She's head of Freedom from Abuse. I take this personally. I hate the fact that we have a government that suggests that by stopping abuse against women and girls, we stop abuse. We stop maybe 2/3 of it, but that leaves countless men in the trap of abuse. I ask you to consider this. Do you think this is about men versus women, or this is about abusers versus abused? I know where I stand on that. I have met far, far more victims of abuse who don't talk about gender than any self-satisfied politician who thinks that men are just some kind of foil to be attacked, and that if you stop men abusing, then it all ends. We will be working with Mankind, with Marilyn from Freedom from Abuse, and also with Men's Advice Line to start rebalancing this, because there are invisible millions who suffer from this, and they're told by the government, you don't count because it's all about women and girls. It makes me angry because I've lost friends to abuse. I don't want you to be one of them. If you agree with me and with Marilyn, then stand up to be counted. Watch what's going to happen on unprecedented TV. And thanks for watching.
Immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.